when I met the Stones, which was late 64, and I started working with them, I think around about April 65, I don't think we sat down to discuss what they would project in the photographs. But by the time I was working with Hendrix in 67, early in 67, I think I'd refined my process somewhat. I mean, I had to, because when I started working with the Stones, you know, I was only a couple of years into my career. I was only 18. You know, I had to evolve quite quickly, and you learn by your mistakes, or at least you improve by recognizing your limitations and your mistakes and working on it. So by 67, you know, I hope I was a better photographer. And with Jimmy, I was able to discuss it perhaps more implicitly. But usually, I mean, I've always seen it as a collaboration, even if it's an unspoken collaboration. And I've always seen that, I've always felt that it was more important to understand my subject's music rather than necessarily like it. You know, I didn't care very much for Hendrix's music the first time I heard it. I found it raucous and it went over my head. I didn't get it. I mean, I grew to get it, but initially when I first heard him, I just thought, but what I saw immediately was this extraordinary vision, this, you know, extraordinary looking man. And regardless of what he was playing, I wanted to photograph him and try and get that across. But always at the same time trying to get across, trying to touch the human being, you know, because that's, for instance, with Jimmy, with most of the pictures of Jimmy, that's what moves people, I think, that they see a person, you know, not just the image. So it's quite complex, and it doesn't bear a huge amount of scrutiny, and a lot of it's instinctive. But yes, I think it's a collaborative relationship, which in most cases is discussed or spoken, and more as the times progress. By the mid 70s, even the early 70s, artists are becoming much more knowing about what they want to project. And so we have discussions, specific discussions about it. Not just about, you know, oh, my nose is too big, can you photograph me from this angle so it looks smaller? Not just sort of rubbish like that, but much more explicit about, you know, what should I be wearing, or how should I present this, or can you help me with this because I really don't know whether it's right or not. And you know, one has those sort of conversations. And then you have artists like Kate Bush, who are very theatrical, and you know, you want to express, you want to try and capture something, tell the story. So when she had an album called The Kick Inside, which I repackaged for the American market because the Americans didn't like the original British sleeve. I put her in a box, you know, with her not contorted, but in such a way that she is apparently kicking inside the box. And yeah, it's not rocket science, but it helps tell the story and sell the album and relate the artist to what they're selling.